What's going on, guys? Welcome back for another video. Project Midwest here with a twin turbo FRS. So some updates for you guys. Got some Q-tips, but I'll show you what I'm gonna do with them later. So I ended up rewrapping the headers. These got a little messy, and honestly, looking back, don't ever wrap your headers before like your build is truly complete. Mistake of my life, has been a nightmare, rashes, this and that. I found titanium slivers like up my booty hole pretty much. But anyways, got those rewrapped. That includes the wastegate downpipes. So those are all complete. Manifolds, and then the exhaust pipe coming back from the turbo. And then also these guys down here. So these are our side exits. So got them nice and tight. And I think they look great. So ended up doing about, I guess, half a turn or half a spin of overlay. So not only did we rewrap them, but I think there's a little bit more material to help us, I guess, contain some of that heat. Hoping we don't have a lot of heat issues. So then the other thing too, just some minor things. We ended up rerunning our water lines because I hated how this thing was set up. It was honestly like the ugliest piece of this build. I know it's like little things, but we want it to look good and we want it to function well. So originally we had our inlet and outlet lines running through this triangle of death right here, which is just a complete hot zone. So we ended up moving them over here. You might think, well, holy shit, there's a belt right there. It's a little dangerous. I'm actually gonna fasten these lines a little bit over, and there's a little bit of play and stuff. So I think I'm gonna fasten them somehow to, I think might be this bracket or intercooler piping. And I think that should be plenty to just keep them away. And then even for some of that tension or movement right there. The other thing too, so we had a little bit of, this was before I got my welder, so we have our thermostat housing right next to our wastegate, and we didn't have much clearance. And I know it's probably hard to tell, it's that guy right there. So probably hard to tell, but it was actually getting really close to our exhaust housing on the turbo and then the wastegate. So we had these exhaust manifolds welded for us, and not really entirely, but it was just this outlet for the wastegate. So when we configured this, we cut the pieces, lined them up, marked them, and this was for one of Justin's buddies, and then he got everything welded. Downside of that is when they're not mocked up in the car, you can't really finesse them how you want them. So they were actually a little bit closer to the wastegate than what we would have wanted. So since I was gonna rewrap this, I ended up cutting this piece off a little bit, clocked it a little bit up, gave me a little bit more clearance for that thermostat housing, and now we're good to go. So as you can see, or maybe Justin, we can capture some of the side of the car. Took all our panels off. Justin has been doing a lot of work on these body panels. As you can see, we got a little bit of a gray on here and totally refinished. I think this primer you said works better than that black one, right?
Yeah, to see like imperfections and stuff.
Yeah. So we've also been hitting them with like a flashlight just to make sure we got like dimples and all that shit out of the way. I'm sure there's other professional ways that we should be doing this. So Justin's actually gonna give it a shot and paint these. So if he paints this, we pretty much did this whole build in house. So, and that was like a big goal of ours, and that's why we're gonna wanna take it to shopping. So anyways, so far so good. And the other thing too is all of these dimples, yes, a pain, but he's actually been taking his time, hitting them with a Dremel and trying to get this radius just right. So all of our stainless steel hardware goes in place nicely and it looks fantastic. So what we'll be doing today is we got all of our holes in place. We haven't dropped in our nut certs. We're gonna go ahead and seal everything off though. So we don't wanna just drop them in because we obviously have some exposed steel there that, you know, with humidity, water, you know, exposed to the elements. Yes, it's compressed, but I think some of that shit's still gonna get in there and could rust. So the idea is, so we got this Sikaflex 221. If you guys do some research, this is kind of like the recommended material. We also used, what is it, Durabond. That was like the other one. It's kind of like a tie between this and Durabond. They do say that this has a little bit more stretching properties to it. So we're gonna run with this. this seems to be the popular option for a lot of Rocket Bunny builds and kind of like over fender style sealing options. And gonna dab some of this on a Q-tip and gonna go around it, and then Justin's gonna go ahead and pop in the nutsert, squeeze it, and it should create a nice little seal around it in the front and the back, or inside and outside. So that'll be the game plan. As he does that, just to give you guys a rundown of what we did with our, I guess, cutting and just clearance. So I'm sure there's a lot of ways to do this and maybe better ways. So we ended up cutting above the fender, as people normally do. You cut your slits in, you bang them up, and then you start tacking them. Yes, this thing isn't perfect. I got like one little burnt hole here and over here, some in this area. And honestly, welding sheet metal like on vehicles is probably one of the hardest things ever. Just so easy to burn holes through it. And like, you know, I think first I tried MIG welding it and it was a disaster. So definitely after I started TIGging it, it went much smoother. And I think what I would have done differently here, and I saw one guy do it like on S2000. I don't know if it's possible with FRS, but so where this bends, he managed to massage the entire wheel well out and maybe stretched it enough so that this flat finish actually meets up with that top radius of your fender. So then when you go to weld it, you don't have any of these slits and you literally just have a perfect line. You're not overfilling the stuff with silicone or caulk like caulk, like a majority of people do. And I think the skill sets are just kind of
New before we did it.
Yeah,
too.
new before we did it, and just I almost don't like the idea of banging the inside of the wheel well. You know, I think just it's gonna create dents.
Yeah.
You gotta paint it, and I still don't know if it's gonna stretch enough. So that's why we're gonna send it this way. I recommend that, I guess if you do wanna give it a shot and you manage to pull this lip out enough so that it meets this upper edge, I would say that's the way to do it. As you can see, we got electrical tape here, not ideal for masking, but in this case, I wanted some stretchy tape just to leave a nice radius, and we're gonna apply the Sikaflex and I'm gonna brush it in. So almost like a rubberized material around all of this, create a nice seal, and that's what we're gonna do in today's video. Like I said, Justin's gonna take care of the holes for the rib nuts or nutserts. And that's the game plan. So the other thing too, from our side exits, we actually, I guess what would be the jack point or mounting point, I ended up welding a bead all the way across the top side so it wouldn't be split down the middle. And I think that's actually stronger than it was before, because before it was just two sealed panels with glue and maybe some spot weld. So now it's welded all the way across, and I'm gonna seal all of it. So everything will be nice and protected. Anything else that we have here is pretty much gonna get covered with this stuff. We might do two passes where hardware and everything that we cut is gonna get sealed now, and then maybe in another video, we'll go ahead and do the over fenders and get that nice bead so everything looks nice and smooth. But we only bought one tube for now since we're not gonna take care of it today, and we'll go from there. That's pretty good, right?
That looks really good.
I almost feel like something that wouldn't have been all foamy would have been better.
Foamy?
Yeah, like a screw thingy. Let's see how this works out. Nice.
It did squeeze on some of it out of the bottom, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did squeeze around it. Nice. That's what we want. We're good? Hell yeah. So ideally on the back side we should be seeing the same thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right guys, getting this side done, front fender. So this is actually going on really nice. Seems a little messy, which it is, but it's going on really thick and creating a nice rubberized seal, both inside and outside. and it's laying on really smoothly. So definitely worked out nicely. What we're gonna do too is rip that masking tape off so we have like a nice clean line. How's the inside look, Justin?
Can't really tell.
But here's this side completed. So ran it through, like I said, it looks thick, which isn't bad. I still have to do the underside down in that corner, but it's coming along. So gonna keep going at it, kind of working a little quick, but just using a brush. Don't really have too much shit on my hands. No really technique for this, just blobbing that thing on like that. Kind of spreading it. So first blob, second blob. Now we just start smearing this thing. We're done. All right, now so hopefully we're gonna peel the tape off and we're gonna have a nice clean line. So this is our first one. So as you guys find out, we'll find out too. No, that looks pretty good so far. So we don't want it to dry out entirely, just because I feel like it's gonna be worse. I guess
To peel
probably
it.
peel it off the paint and stuff.
Frick it.
Oh yeah. See, look, it's starting to peel back a little bit. It's a little sketch.
Yeah, it's a good thing we're doing it now.
Yeah, seriously. It is a little late, but we're gonna get it done. Good, good, good. Good, good.
Freaking good barber, dude. Relying on the car up nice.
So far, so good. It's a little bit drier than what I would have liked, but it's working out, dude.
I mean, this looks super clean, honestly.
Yeah, that looks fantastic.
Very clean silicone job.
And that's thick, dude.
It's very
thick
thick.
rubber. And the reason why we're doing this is because we live in Michigan. Not that Justin's gonna be driving this car in the snow. Or who knows, maybe he will.
We might have to go rip it for a video or something.
Yeah, seriously.
I'll
But
get
just being exposed to elements, water, humidity, any of that bullshit that we don't want. I'm loving this, dude. I am loving it.
nice.
Thanks. That did not sound good.
I'm so sorry.
Freaking crunchy.
I think you just had a little bit of sand in there.
Yeah.
I think you did some good. Give it a little more clearance.
So yeah, we didn't half-ass any of this stuff. Not like somebody out there. Okay guys, so we got the fenders back on. Everything dried up pretty dang good. So it ended up being pretty thick, which is a good thing. It's almost like a rubberized material now, which is silicone. But I was actually impressed at how thick it dried up. So I think it's gonna have a lot of resistance. In addition to that, we started working on what would be the extensions for the fender liners. So we don't want to have a janky ass build, and what goes with some of these Rocket Bunny builds is you end up with a massive gap right here because your fender liners are not long enough and they're not shaped to fit the Rocket Bunny kit. So from what we know is there's no fender liner extensions. So we actually created these, and what we'll do is we'll link the materials in the video, or I guess just this ABS material. We found it on Amazon, and actually not bad of a deal. And we got like 4 sheets for 60 bucks, and we only needed 2. All right guys, so take a look at some of this work that we did here. So this was probably the trickiest shape that we had. So we have the fender, side skirt down here, side skirt. So this thing comes out 90 degree, and then that 90 blends into what would be almost like a flat shape up here. So not only that, if you guys take a look around this bend, this corner, the fender itself actually tucks into this ABS sheet. So this fender does need to come in a little bit, but we're actually gonna fasten this top part with the side skirt with what would be like these U-clips. So we're gonna fasten the two together, and that'll maintain these two pieces aligned, give it some rigidity. So this whole fender liner comes up and over, so nothing is exposed anymore. So not only that, we have all of the rubberized material in place, so all the seams are closed off. So then for the backside, Justin knocked these out. So same concept, we actually stenciled out the fender liners with a piece of cardboard first, and then we slowly started to mold everything in place. You do have to take it little by little, and I will say that the templating itself probably took just as long as molding the fenders. So, or not molding the fenders, the liners. But it does have a lot of like malleability to it. So looking at this back side right here, I know this looks a little distorted or warty looking, but it stretched out around what would be the bumper, and there's the bumper, and then it comes out and around and then behind the stock fender liner. So again, we don't have any exposed OEM fenders that are showing, so we're gonna protect against rock chips. And my bad, shutting the lights on and off, and everything is nice and tucked and buttoned up. So I think we will have to take these off at some point, just to, we're still working on the body a little bit, and then for the final fitment, we got to get these U-clips in place. Justin's got to get these painted, and then we should be all squared up. So give you guys a little bit more background on this. So here's the actual material. So it comes with what would be a rough side and then a smooth side with a protective like sheet over it. So once you guys are done molding, you can peel this off. I use a combination of what would be like a torch and then the heat gun. So the torch itself was giving me a lot of precision to make like 90-degree bends, whereas the heat gun has a wider spread. So both worked well. I think Justin, you use like heat gun what, like 80-90% of the time?
Yeah.
So I was using the torch probably 90% of the time.
Because we couldn't use it at the same time.
Yeah. This is for the front fenders. Like I said, we just ended up using a cardboard stencil, which we probably threw away. I still have to knock out this side. I actually had it done, but it didn't come out as good as this side, and we had leftover material. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna redo it. So Justin is done with both the back ones, and yeah, so that would be the legit way of sealing up your fenders and also creating fender liners. Oh, one other thing that I do want to show. Since I removed the fender liner that I completed, I do want to show what it looks like prior to covering them up. So I did cut some of the material off, so it would give me some, I guess, flat areas to fasten the new liner to. So for example, I guess this whole section I cut off almost like maybe inch and a half, just because this curves downwards. So you want that additional clearance. So I cut just enough to where it pretty much meets the fiberglass fender, and then from here I'm extending it out. Same thing over on this side. I actually cut a bigger chunk right here because there was like indentation, just molded indentation that goes into this upper section. Not quite sure what it was there for. It wasn't buttoned to anything, so this is. So I'm using this to actually fasten the new fender liner. I created like a tab, built it off that, and yeah, so that's a key part. I guess where it's tricky here is not all builds are gonna be the same. So meaning I cut, I guess, what would be the ideal or measured amount in like the diagrams. Some people might cut an inch more, inch less, and same thing with the fender liners. I guess I don't have measurements to say, hey, cut here and cut this much. That's just kind of where it's at, kind of eyeball it, but that material is very forgiving and I highly recommend it. So anyways, bunch of talking. Gonna wrap this video up. For the next video, we are gonna do a little bit of electrical work. Gonna wire in the pedal, as you guys may have noticed. We do have the harness right here over the car already. We're gonna set up our Justin 3D printed a box where we're gonna keep all this nice and secured and covered from the elements and especially heat. So we have the wires that we need running into the car, and that'll be a wrap. So I think once the gas pedal is wired in, TCC switch, fuel pump, fans, at that point we're gonna get some brake-in oil, fire up the car, check for leaks, and do a test drive. So that's coming up close, guys. Be sure to subscribe, comment on our videos, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.